Welcome to Meta Tripping. Peace. Well, as predicted on Monday, today was almost inexplicable, kind of with the shadow energies. We're definitely going through another shift. And I thought I pre-pulled the cards, including the tarot, just to save time because I'm working on that brevity challenge. All right. And I wanted to get into the energies from today into the new moon, to just kind of help everyone through, because we're going through kind of it's a testing time. I definitely feel a strong vibe. We're being observed. And I think what's most important, rather than focus on, what is observing us, it's best to focus on our cores. It's always important to go back to heart alignment. Where is your heart aligned? You don't have to you don't have to allow anything to take you off the track of that, even if it looks in the 3D world like a return of, disappointments and that sort of thing. Starting off with the mind placement, we have the Four of Cups reversed, and the unconscious accent is the Ace of Staffs, aka Wands. The energy that I'm receiving around the Four of Cups reversed is, Spirit is saying keep moving. We'll start with that. You have your different projects to work on. And this is a collective, generalized energy reading, so you're going to want to see how this fits into your life with what you've been working on through these last, I would say, at least 2 years, but longer than that, really. We're talking about dreams that, possibly were sparked, even low-key sparked, 5 to 7 years ago. Some of the energies we're dealing with have been long going in the background. The energy I'm getting around the Four of Cups, getting, interestingly, a lot of confusion energy in the collective. A lot of reassessing. There's a feeling of unspoken kind of like finality to situations that we were resisting. Just a moment. And that others are resisting, as far as concerning those who've been attempting to block our progress. See if there's anything else coming through with this card. Spirit just keeps saying you have to keep focused. There hasn't been a lot of spirit communication or activity for me today. But I did want to put something out because the energies were just so profoundly weird. And for me, I started noticing them actually yesterday, moving into today, last night, moving into the early morning. And it was before midnight, Well, the Ace of Staffs is, aka Wands, is reversed. It's an unconscious accent. So what we're working on in the unconscious that is contributing to kind of the recalibrating is really what the energy feels like that we're dealing with on the conscious level. I'm just getting the vibe. If you don't have the energy, I'm getting the vibe, and it kind of was, it's like it feels like it's coming from spirit. If you don't have the energy, don't push. There could be tons of fear energy out there attempting to make things look like they're moving in the worst case direction. But Spirit is confirming we're on track. It may not look like it. But I've been consciously aware of these shifts for a while now. Definitely from 2017 on, they were really obvious to me, even though I didn't quite know what was going on, but Spirit was letting me know when I needed to wait and be patient and just let the energies pass through. And I think that is what the collective is dealing with today. I don't think the collective energies quite know what to do with the vibe. And, you know, our vibes, a lot of it has to do with what's going on in the astral realms. You know, the physical realm is really just a container. It's the afterthought energy. It's the last energy. It's the container energy for whatever we're processing in the astral realms. And there are different levels to the astral. So overall, the overall message for the mind placement is really just take it easy on yourself. Like that's the vibe that I'm getting in very strongly. Like in the next, you know, in the coming days, the light's going to be creeping back through. I'm getting in this moment. And it's going to be a lot better than it's looking now. So keep your head up. You know, like I've had to remind myself of that. You know what I mean? Because I've really been put through the ringer with these shift cycles. And I've seen wonders and experienced miracles. And what have appeared to be or have been like living nightmares. But this is the reality when we're dealing with ascension. We're dealing with old and outworn patterns and programs that want to continue going in a secular fashion. They want to keep going. You know, these cycles want to keep going, but they're coming to their end. You know what I'm saying? Kind of like as we spiral up the same way, there's a spiraling down, you know, when you know, water may be processing something through a drain. It's a spiral process. And we process a lot of this through our chakra bodies, our subtle bodies. You know, so we're talking about dimensions collapsing, you know, those that can get with that line of thought. We're talking about the collapsing of dimensions. You know what I'm saying? Period. And that's not an easy thing because there are pieces of us that we've left in other timelines, pieces of us left, you know, in a time when we were 4 years old and we dealt with a trauma, or when we were 10 and we had like a major disappointment that set up how our social life was going to be looking, you know, because of how we chose to look at ourselves from that point forward in regards to group situations. How whatever is playing out in your life, whatever Pluto retrograde season, Saturn retrograde season, and Jupiter retrograde season are helping you to review and release and recover, because I think that's the other thing to keep in mind when you're dealing with retrograde season energies is you're recovering aspects of yourself as you're letting go of false aspects of yourself and false aspects that have become attachments in your life that kept you from being yourself or kept essential aspects of your authentic self and your authentic heart light buried underground. You know what I'm saying? Is there any other advice you're hearing? So Spirit is saying meditation will help greatly now. Are there any focuses in particular to focus on for meditation? Okay, that makes a lot of sense. So Spirit is saying like you can work with the blue ray. Spirit is saying, you know, the color blue in general, the vibration of blue, that's the throat chakra. So throat chakra clearing. Spirit is saying correctly, throat chakra clearing will be greatly helpful now. This is the mental placement, and we're dealing with energies that these are water and fire energies that, you know, when emotion and passion or the lack thereof can come into play, it can be very distracting to the mind. So getting on board with mental clarity, you can work with blue energy, and the color is kind of like a sky blue or a cornflower blue for the throat chakra. When you go into meditation, you can also work with stones, you know what I'm saying, blue stones, with those vibrations, and that will be of assistance to you in keeping your mental clarity, because I think, and I'll let you know when it comes through as an actual vibe, but just on a thinking level, I think what's getting ready to happen is we've been dealing with so much spiritual activity, pleasant and unpleasant, that we're learning how to reassert ourselves in this new manifestation that's getting ready to happen. And we're going to have a certain degree of clarity of mind. So we're dealing with more of a body grounding, more of a being present, and more of a coming out of the nightmares of the unconscious, which is something big to think about, because a lot of people have been living their nightmares. I mean, if we're going to be real about it, all of society has really been living its nightmare. We've been living unconscious, generational patterns that don't work, patterns of enslavement, patterns of belittling, patterns of theft from the true holders of particular resources. So there has to be a recalibration, and Uranus is in Taurus now, so we are dealing with an earth shift that is, we've been dealing with earth shifts, but we're dealing with an earth shift on a quantum level that, and Spirit is confirming, that is going to align with where our minds are focused. So this depth excavation of what we truly want in life, and what we're truly aligned with, what we truly value, and what we really believe our worth is, because Taurus is about your worth and what you're willing to work for, because you believe in it, and because it's yours, and your natural gifts and your natural blessings and bounty, your personal resources, the world's personal resources. So now that kind of that invader consciousness, the grips of it is breaking down all across the board, we're seeing the natural inheritors of Earth's bounty adjusting to kind of, Spirit is saying that where I'm headed is correct, kind of stepping into that stewards of how society is going to be moving as we go forward, as we step beyond, push beyond corruption cycles, or as corruption cycles simply just dissolve and cave in on themselves. Because if we're not feeding corrupt powers, then they have no attention to draw off of. And we can literally focus on building what we want for ourselves, our families, and our communities. And it really is that basic. And it always was that basic. But now we've been able to we're still in the process of it, we've been able to clear a lot out of the mass psyche generationally that has been holding us back and making us think on a commoner mass level that we're too little to make changes, or not powerful enough. But nothing could be further from the truth. So I'm going to move on to the body placement, material matters, also contracts that take place in the 3D. We have the Six of Swords reversed with an unconscious accent of the Justice card. Okay, so this is what I felt earlier that speaks to this, is something I've felt happen before during shifts. There would be a period of what I might call dark shift energy, where depending on how you're focusing on it, it can be scary or it can be dreamy and miraculous. But one thing is for sure, it would be very difficult to get any information out of those shift cycles while they were happening. But what I would receive from Spirit is, look, we're recalibrating right now, but there's a lot of behind the scenes work taking place in the astral where things are made. Okay, because that's where things are made. We can make things with our hands down here. We can channel from our higher selves whatever artistic, inspirational points of focus that we want to physically bring into the physical plane of existence, but it all takes place in the astral. You know what I'm saying? So those that are in the astral and conscious in the astral are making the changes that need to be made, balancing the scales. That's what the Justice card and the unconscious aspect is coming up as for a concern. So if we even go back to the Ma'at mythology, with the scales and with your heart being weighed when you're going through a death process against a feather, to see if you're ready to move on to the next level, or if you still have baggage that you are clutching onto so tightly that you're going to have to go back and do that old cycle again. And that's what we're dealing with right now. So I strongly advise that even though with the Six of Swords reversed here, it looks like there's no solution, or it looks like the solutions that you have been craving and looked like, you were seeing the inspirations, or you were getting the nudgings of spirit, like, oh, okay, things are looking like they're progressing in a solution direction. They are. Spirit just confirmed that. They are still progressing in a solution direction. Okay? But they're delayed. And recalibration is taking place. And as these shifts take place, and you feel periods like this where the energy is inexplicable to you, and you come, if you don't recognize already, but if you're coming to recognize, like, whoa, this is supernatural, realize it's because the old cycles, the old dimensions where our energies have been so fixated are dying away from us, and we're moving up. It's usually that we're traveling up in degree. Meditation is going to help you. I can't convey it enough. Connect with your ancestors. Connect with your relatives who passed on, people you were very, very close to in life. You know what I'm saying? Like, they're here for you. If you haven't cleared your energy body out to a level, cleared out the fear, to the point where you're, able to see into the astral clearly, or hear clairaudiently when spirit speaks to you, that's okay, because they'll speak to you through a billboard. You'll see some animal totems. You can get yourself a deck of oracle cards. You can pull a card a day. You can start rebuilding your relationship with the spirit world that you traveled down into this physical body through. The spirit world you came from. You know what I'm saying? Is there a particular message, spirit, for the collective in terms of body, finances, material matters, contracts? Spirit is saying all is well. Keep going one step at a time. And I'm going to tell you, I've been going through these shifts so much that I know now, even when it's scary for me, and today was scary, just some of the events that have been taking place recently, it was scary. But you're returning back to what you know on a spiritual level, your gut feelings, and what you're being given from spirit, that you're okay. When you're being told you're okay, you're okay. And sometimes you just have to wait for things to pass through and go into a state of peace. The spirit is saying, go into a state of peace rather than a state of resistance and worry and anxiety. You don't want to go there. You don't want to go there, because that's attachment, and you don't want to go through 2018 again in 2019. We have opportunities to truly break the grip of the worst of those cycles and move on to our paths. And you're taking a peaceful stance within and moving at your own pace and being easy with yourself, being kind to yourself and loving with your loved ones, and kind and patient with your loved ones. It's the way to go. Spirit's prompting me to move on. We're almost at the 20-minute mark. So the soul development card, we have the Five of Staffs, aka Wands, upright, and the Page of Coins, aka Pentacles, reversed in the unconscious aspect. There's competition energy with the Five of Staffs, disorganization energy, grabby energy. The more fear that I'm getting strongly, the more fear that's generated in the astral, the more confusion there is. And that is what is happening today. So that is what, there's so much unrest on a collective level that the chaos of it can be unsettling if you don't find your centering, like in your heart. What do you believe in? What are the seeds you've been planting? Where have you been intending to go? You know what I'm saying? You've already set your course and you're on course. That's what you're traveling upwards into through the astral. So whether you're dealing with the law of attraction, or you have affirmation journals, inner child healing journals, all of that, utilize your tools to get through this. And yeah, don't engage in conflict. Spirit is saying peacefully redirect your attention. Spirit is saying, this is something else that the Spirit has said in other readings, like, what else could you be doing right now, right? What else could you be focusing on right now? Your heart is your compass. Spirit is saying your heart is connected with your third eye, and that is your navigator. Ooh, that is like a gem, okay? And I was feeling serious third eye pressure bearing down on me. So keep that in mind. Remind yourself of who you are. Take a healing bath. Take a cleansing bath. Cleanse off the past. Release the past. Release the anger. Spirit is confirming. Release your anger. Spirit is saying you are enough. This is something major to focus on in this period, especially with these Taurian energies and this new moon in Taurus coming up, which I'll be putting up readings for. The Page of Coins reverse is an unconscious aspect. Spirit is saying, don't doubt the seeds you've planted. This is a soul development time, y'all. For there to be chaos and competition and seeds you've planted, I know for me, this has been a personal theme. And I've still been able to keep going for the most part, but it was when I would take my attention off of what I was doing and focus on whoever was clutching at my energy or trying to block my progress in any given area. And let me tell you, the opposition was hard body. It's almost to the point where I was like, yo, like, you watch the movie The Matrix, you go watch The Adjustment Bureau, Inception, movies like this, where I really was like, okay, this is happening in my life. And I started to notice it happening in other people's lives. Whenever you're trying to shift upwards, you're trying to change something, and even on the most mundane level, you can hear about this in different motivational videos where these successful people will tell you when they started to harness their own lives and align their track with their authentic selves, the opposition from people they thought loved them, former friend, all of that was tremendous, because when you're changing, it can be scary for the people that are in your life because they're used to you being a certain way. But if you're in full alignment with who you are and where you want to go, and you're in alignment with your heart, those that are, and that is the theme card too, to accept true love. Those that have a true kindredship with you, a true love connection with you, they're going to celebrate. They're going to celebrate your accomplishments. And if you don't have a lot of that around you right now, it may be time to clean up your social circle. It may be time to ask yourself and do some reassessing. Why have you chosen to surround yourself with, unconsciously or consciously, people who don't cheerlead when you're doing well, when you're in alignment with who you came down here to be? You don't have to be anyone's lackey, anyone's obligational support friend. It's one thing to lend support. It's another thing to be the shoulder that's always leaned on, but never the shoulder that gets a rest or has someone else grab the bag and say, hey, you relax for a while. I'll carry this. You know what I'm saying? Yep. So Spirit is saying your dreams are aligning. Take heart. And this is really good news. And I'm so glad that I decided to do an impromptu reading today, because I didn't really do a weekly for this week, outside of the one that I did for soulmates, sacred partners, twin flames, the sacred union, however you align with the idea of sacred union, because I'm not really so keen on getting locked into definitions. So I just call it the state of the sacred union reading, and I did post that on the weekend, and maybe posting another either tomorrow or Sunday to take a look at the sacred union energies. across the board. So in closing from Spirit is saying be patient, meditate, and raise your vibrations. What's being relayed is it'll make this process much easier. And it'll help break up the resistance in the astral that's trying to lock you into the past. So be aware of what's happening. Really, go with your gut on this as you're listening to this. You understand what I'm saying? Be aware of what's happening, even if you're not seeing it yourself, or even if you wouldn't put it in these exact words. Whatever is trying to hold you back in the past is an illusion. Remember that. All right. And the theme card for this week. Oh, hold on a minute. Okay. I said this week, the theme card over the next 3 days, moving towards the new moon, because we're in a dark moon phase. And ciao, it is a challenging one. The theme card is accept true love. And the subtext of this card is soul family. All right. So I would encourage in your meditations to marinate on that. And if you're doing heart alignment work, your soul family can be embodied. Your soul family can most certainly be in the spirit world. We're always connected. Despite the appearances of illusion, it's not like anything is truly keeping you from what you are really aligned with at heart, from where you really come from in the grand scheme of things. Yo, people, for starseeds, the star systems that you are aligned with. You understand what I'm saying? For sacred partners, your sacred partner. We're talking about soul family. You understand what I'm saying? Your ancestors, and especially your ancestors of heart. Those that you can call on. Those that refuse to leave you because they're guiding you. Learn to listen. They can only assist you and guide you if you're paying attention. And same in life, a little bit different, because in the spirit world, they can't really push. If they're high vibrational, they're not going to push anything on you. If they're low vibrational, they're damn sure going to try. If we're talking about low vibrational forces that aren't for you and aren't good. And that's a good way to tell what you're dealing with. But those that are for you, they're not going to push. They're going to be like grandma, okay, baby. You know what I'm saying? The time you were taught, you have everything you need to work with. Right? So connecting with your soul family now, it can take place in dream. It can take place in conscious meditation. You may be getting a lot of signs from your soul family. You're not alone. And this is but a physical life. This is not the timeless life from which we truly emerge. All right? This is not, the eternal, what we're processing and what we're ascending upwards through. These are old dimensions breaking down because they can't sustain the lie anymore. So the more you align with your heart chakra, do your heart chakra work, get yourself a rose quartz, go into meditation, heal your inner child, reawaken your dreams, and go after them. Believe in yourself. Completely ignore the naysayers. Your soul family can help you. The more you help yourself, the more you align with what you truly want and who you truly are. So I hope this was helpful. And thank you so much for tuning in. And blessings on your ascension journey. As energies come in that I feel really need to be communicated, I'm going to, I'll post on that. For those who celebrate, Beltane, happy Beltane. If for some reason you don't hear from me until Sunday, happy Cinco de Mayo. We're moving towards the summer, y'all. And it's a retro scorpionic summer. So let's move into that with a strong, strong light so we can harness the powers that we're recovering during this Pluto retrograde cycle from disempowerment to the past. All right, y'all. Peace.